Record. What if I told you that was fake? Because that's magic, baby. We're in the movies. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Vita blog. And this one, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. It's definitely something I've wanted to talk about, and I think it's something a lot of people need to hear and maybe even want to hear. Unfortunately, this doesn't apply to me, but there are moments in my life when I kind of wish it did. But the one thing I want to say is we live in a world, where everything needs to be grand, everything needs to be amazing, everything needs to be, top notch. And, on social media and like in school and everything, it feels like we're pushed to be the best. You should be number one. You should be striving to be the valedictorian. You should be striving at your job to be the manager or the boss or the CEO or whatever. And especially on social media, if you're in like any kind of thing like this, you should be pushing the bounds of freaking, content to be the best. In this crazy world, you need to be the main character. You need to be Batman. And I want to tell you, it's okay to be Robin. Like, genuinely. It's okay to be second best. It's okay to be a supporting character. And I feel like in today's society, we deal with a lot of like people would look down on the idea of a supporting character. Like, no, what? I'm the main character. I'm not a supporting character. I think people view it as an insult, but it's not. Like, look at any of your favorite movies. I guarantee you it's not your favorite movie just because of the main character. You probably like some of the supporting cast. Actually, sometimes the supporting cast is better than the main character. You can see that in a lot of anime and manga. Majority of the time, people like the secondary characters more than the main character because, after a while, the main character is, he's going through a story you've seen a million times, especially in manga, like, oh, a troubled childhood. I don't know my parents, but I'm going to be the greatest of all time, so people actually pay attention to me. You know what I mean? You hear it, you see it a lot. And you can kind of point that out to like a lot of business people too. That's the kind of same storyline. A lot of business people, I came from nothing, when they really came from mommy and daddy's money. But you know what I mean? Like, there's that tried and true story that you hear from like these billionaires that were self-made and whatnot. But I think it's like, I think people forget and get so stressed out and cause themselves to be anxious because they're like, I need to be Batman. I need to be number one. I need to like not let anybody beat me. And I'm just here to tell you it's okay to be Robin. Like, look, in society, like, I'll tell you one of the things that, it has affected me a lot in the last few years because I've been going to these places a lot. But in situations like going to the hospital or something, right? The doctors are Batman, okay? They're the ones that went to the medical school and they are the ones performing like the brain surgery or the heart surgery. They're Batman. That's badass. Batman does that kind of stuff too. But they're nothing without their nurses. You know what I mean? Nurses, I would consider Robin. And if I'm being honest with you, nurses, half of the time, I love them so much more. It doesn't actually, it doesn't hurt to say that I also had a bunch of crushes on nurses all the time. Because, I knew them personally. But, like, I don't know what it is about nurses. They just make you feel better. They're cool. They're great. They make you feel at ease when you're going into, like, a terrible situation or, like, a situation that is scaring you to death. A nurse is there to, like, comfort you and be there for you and be like, everything's going to be okay, buddy. And, I don't know. Like, I could not imagine going to a hospital and not having great nurses. Like, it's just, they're like the bread and butter. When I went to the emergency room, when I was having vertigo back in like August or something like that, I had really bad vertigo, and I went in there and I was feeling like terrible. I was like, having like intrusive thoughts and all this kind of stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, my head is spinning, I can't stop. And I go in there and I talk to this really cool nurse, and she's all like, she's just like cracking jokes. She's all like, do you take anything for your anxiety? And I'm like, nope, no, I don't take anything. I don't want to take medication. And she's like, damn, you're going through life raw like that? And I'm all like, yeah. And she's just like cracking jokes and just trying to like calm me down and being like, hey, you're going to be good. Like, we're going to get you checked out, and we're going to, maybe we're going to, if you think something's going on in your head, we're going to get a scan of that. And just like she knew everything that that I wanted to hear, essentially. And then, of course, I did actually have a cool doctor. He did come in. He was like, "What's going on, buddy?" And he tells me he's like real chill. And like he gave all Batman vibes. I'm gonna be real with you. He's an emergency room doctor. Like I told him, I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "I don't know if I have a tumor in my brain." He's like, "You think you have a tumor?" Like he literally did an Arnold Schwarzenegger freaking a gimmick. Like it was just hilarious. Our like impression to make me feel better. Like I was like, "Okay, cool, dude." But that whole staff was important, right? And like, I don't think the nurses are going to be the ones performing the emergency surgery on like somebody that got shot got shot in the head or something like that. Like, it is what it is. But they're not any less important. That's the point I'm trying to get out there. Yes, people are going to do different things. There are going to be people that are playing in the NFL, like, and that's not going to be you. But doesn't mean that if you're the coach, doesn't mean that you're not any less important. If you want to say the coach is Robin, a lot of people would say the coaches are Batman as well. But even the supporting cast of the coaching staff, those are Robins, man. They're just as important. Some people would probably say better. Why do you think a lot of freaking coaches get promoted to be head coaches? Because they're good at what they fucking do. But at that point in their life, they've been Robin. They've been second fiddle. They've been, part of a team. And yeah, I just see like so many people trying to be like the center of attention, and it's okay to be on the outside and cheering on people or being the supporter. Like there's that old school line, right? Granted, times have changed, but it was like always, behind every great man there's a great woman. Like reverse the freaking gender roles if you want, or put whatever label you want to put on it, but it's true. Like a lot of relationships, people don't get there without the supporting cast, without a Robin. Just like Batman. Batman would not be Batman without Robin. Like Robin has made him better over the years. If you read a lot of the comics, like half of the time Robin brings him back to being like a real person and keeps him human instead of going over the edge, because Robin is the freaking shining light in that partnership. And I don't know if I've said it in these vlogs. I think I've definitely told this to friends, but with anxiety, I feel like if I was actually dating somebody that in a good relationship, because I 100% believe that relationships can also cause anxiety if you're in a bad one. But if I was in like a healthy relationship with somebody, I genuinely feel I wouldn't have all of these crazy thoughts in my brain, because I would be like, oh, I have somebody else to, speak with, to share time with, and that can make me feel better. You know what I mean? I can lay on their lap and they're going to pet my head, you know what I mean? And that's just going to be comforting. Like that is a thing I think a lot of people take for granted. But I would love to have a Robin in my life right now. And it's unfortunate to be like, oh, so the person that you're going to date is automatically going to be a Robin. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I would love to have it. It could be just one of my friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would love to have a friend that I could hang out with a lot of times that doesn't give a shit. Because I have met people that don't give a shit about what I do. They think it's cool, but they're like, I would never want to do that. Like I have met so many people lately, and I love this because I have said I wish my brain could be like that. When I meet somebody that is content in life or says that they want to live a simple life, I'm in awe of that. I'm in awe of that. And in society would be like, this guy, a simple life. What the heck? What, he just wants to freaking be able to like have a small house and chill. What? Like a lot of people look down on that. I think it's stupid. I think it's amazing to know and be satisfied with a simple life. Like I will always bring up this example. I used to work with a guy who I would ask, like, because where we worked, he had the same position I did, so I knew how much money he was making. And I'm like, yo, man, like, what, you want to do anything in life? Like, because I never saw him, like, taking long vacations to travel or anything like that. And he was young, too. And so I'm like, man, making the money we're making and him being, like, his young self, because he was, like, in his early 20s. I think we hired him, like, fresh out of high school. And by the time he got the position I had, he was probably in his early 20s. I was like, yeah, man, you don't want to go, like, travel, do anything crazy, like, go experience a lot of stuff? And he's like, nope. He's like, I'm cool with just being here. I'm like, I was like, you don't want to, like, do this, and that? And he's like, nope. He's like, as long as I got a job, I can play video games. That's kind of cool. That's all I care about. That makes me content in life. And I was just like, oh, damn. Like, he was pretty just content. Like, he was okay. I think he had a girlfriend, so maybe it would have been a little different if he didn't have a girlfriend at the time, but he seemed fine. Like, his life was cool. I think his only dream was he wanted to own, like, a farm or something like that. Like, that was his, I guess, big dream. But for the most part, he didn't care about creating anything. He didn't care about like, oh yeah, I want to travel the world. No, he was totally cool living in the city for the rest of his life, and as long as he had a job and he could play video games and chill, he was fine. And I was just like, wow. He always kind of, I was just like, I was amazed by that because my brain would never, it would never. It is constantly striving to create something, to make something cool, to make something that'll like make people feel or just be like, whoa, that was awesome. Because that's what I watched and loved growing up. I loved that first time Goku went Super Saiyan. I thought that was amazing. Or the first time like I saw Batman fight Joker or like outsmart Joker and outsmart all these other villains and like just see him do crazy stuff or Superman fly through the air. Like those kind of things I was just like in awe of and I loved it. And I loved watching movies. It's the reason why I wanted to get into the industry because I loved how movies made me feel. They could make me feel sad or mad or angry. I mean, like, that's the same shit. But you know what I mean? Like, they could make me feel that. They could make me tear up just, like, with dialogue and simple just visuals. And I'm just like, dude, I want to be able to do that. And I know I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to get there, to try to make that stuff happen because it's not easy to do. And I do feel like a lot of other people out there in the world feel like they need to be doing that, but they don't really want to do that. But they have all this pressure from friends, family, social media that like you need to be striving for your best. You need to be like grussily. You need to be hustling and freaking grinding every day, waking up at 4 a.m. and taking a cold shower and freaking going on a 10-mile run. Like there's so much of that kind of culture trying to be ingrained into a lot of people, and it's not built for everybody, man. Like it's just not. And if you are somebody that's like stressing about this kind of stuff and you're like, there's nothing I really want to do, like I don't have those kind of aspirations, or maybe you were lucky enough to like travel early on in your life, maybe you're more around my age and maybe you had a family that was a little bit more well off and they were able to travel and you were able to experience a lot of things in life and you just didn't really care. That's okay too, man. Just because you're like, I already experienced that stuff, like I'd rather be kind of just like chill and do stuff at home and whatever. I feel like we don't appreciate people that just help others. I genuinely feel like that. I mean, I've said that a million times. I think teachers are very grossly underpaid. I don't know how much people in the medical field get paid and whatnot. I'm sure they get paid well, but are they able to live extremely comfortably? Are they able to get paid what they deserve? I don't know. Some doctors might say they're not with what they're dealing with, especially after what happened during the pandemic. I knew some nurses that left the profession completely because they were like, nah, not doing that shit anymore. Because it wasn't worth it, because people didn't appreciate them. And, going through one of the craziest things ever. Apologies for my dog, who is going insane. But, yeah, that is, he has to be the main character in this thing. He won't let anybody else. He's got to be Batman. So, unfortunately, that's my dog, Ollie. But, yeah. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that because I read so much Batman, and I do think a lot of people, like to slob on the knob of Batman and think he's the greatest. Look, I think Batman is the greatest as well, but I'm also not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, Batman beats Superman 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. You know what I mean? And I also, I appreciate the side characters. I am a huge lover of Catwoman. But a lot of people are like, Catwoman, that's just one woman in Batman's life. And it's just like, bro, come on. Like, I appreciate the side characters, and I like to see that support. And it's like, when I go places, if I meet somebody nice, like a good waiter or a good, like, just hostess of something, like, I try to, like, chat with them and just kind of see what's going on in their life and just try to tell them, like, oh, thanks, appreciate what you do and whatnot. Because I feel like a lot of people don't. And I kind of want to just make this video in case you are one of those people that feels like you need to be, more, you need to be something bigger, you need to be something better. It's okay to help other people get to the mountaintop. You know what I mean? Like, perfect analogy. All these people that said they've climbed Everest didn't climb Everest by themselves. They had like Sherpas and all these people that helped them get there. They didn't do it by themselves. I'm pretty sure the people that did that by themselves are very, 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 very small. But for the most part, they had help, and people don't remember that. Like, I don't know. I think we need to appreciate more the Robins in the world and say it's okay to be Robin, you know? Because you know what? Like, I don't think there's anybody that has done something great in this world that didn't have somebody behind them supporting them. Like, I genuinely feel that. You know, because I know even if I were to like drop something today, like drop an amazing freaking manga or something like that, obviously the artist is gonna carry half of that. But it's also like, you know, my family helped me through a bunch of hard times and stuff like that. So like, it's like, bam, that's the supporting cast. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to get on here and talk about that because I do think that we constantly, I don't know, man. I feel like you don't need to be Batman. I've said it a million times already in this video, but I'm trying to like really stress it because I do think there are so many people out there that don't want to grind. They don't want to do that. They want to be able to just show up on time and support who has the vision. And that's cool, man. I'm down with that. I wish I could be that personally. But my dog, like my dog, my brain wants to be Batman. And dude, that race is really hard because you know it is. It's tough. I mean, you gotta be essentially as cool as Batman to make it in this world. Trust me, I've tried it with YouTube. I feel like I've done everything possible with YouTube, and still haven't been able to make a dent or like get the success I wanted. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's not always easy trying to go to the Batman route. So it's okay to be Robin. Just want to throw that out there. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.